this is Nameless Ghoul from Ghost. You're watching Loud TV. Whereas the previous album sort of stylistically was sort of hovering in some sort of baroque milieu, this new one is more of a futuristic early 1900s, sort of a super urban modern world, but from a 1920s point of view, I guess. Slightly more energetic, yeah. It's a little bit more to the point. I think that with the previous record we sort of warped our sometimes a sort of retrospective sound, and I think we warped it a little bit too much to the retro, which didn't have too much to do with the recording. I think it was a mix and a mastering thing where it got a little bit lost. So, slightly wiser from that recording, we went into this recording of this album with the knowledge that there were a few things that was better taken care of before than later. One of them was basically to have a little bit more bite in terms of our guitar sounds, and the drums to be slightly less retro, if you want. I don't know him very well yet. We haven't really done our mileage with him, so I am sure that we will find out. But he seems nice. He seems okay. Obviously, he's very close relatives with Papa Number 2, who was a little bit of a I'm sure that he isn't like completely different, but we'll find out. He's a bit of a recluse, and he sort of travels on his own, and he sort of appears when we're due on stage, and then he disappears when we're off stage. So yeah, I guess we have a little bit of a social disconnect there, but I don't see a big problem with that. I mean, he seems to be doing well on his own, and I don't know if he has a little harem somewhere that that occupies his time off stage. I guess I'm assuming that. Usually, the recruiting is being done by the clergy, who is a higher power within the ministry. So usually the appointment of a new pope and any direction that's usually being given by them. So I am gladly relieved of that duty. I don't want to fuck with him. You never know when you get men like that. They seem to be they can be a little bit itchy and not too fun to give advice. Well, it means the pursuit for something better. And it is not as much a comment on where we are as a band, but more of a comment on social comment that we're making with the record. It's a comment. It's a mirror reflection of the world today and the little person within it, and his or her relationship with God or gods, or how we treat each other, and what's valued in life. Money. Money and money. We use the idea of simulating religion in order to paint a picture of the different kinds of topics. All the lyrics are about man. Man as in mankind. We have just chosen to focus on it from a perspective where we put religiosity as a sort of a backdrop to paint the story, to paint the picture and to tell the story, because that's a very, for us, understandable way of illustrating small person, big authority, void, confusion. Obviously, it is a big problem. It's a very contemporary problem. It's a very, very big danger. And it's, as much as we in the Western world feel like we are secularized and that is sort of an old-fashioned, especially in Sweden, where we come from, it's, you know, it's so secularized to the point where being religious is almost like being a little bit dumb. But still, there is also there seems to be a disconnect between the modern man and her well-being because of that loss. That is not to say we're not telling anybody to believe anything special, but there seems to be a disregard towards the idea that there are a lot of things that we might believe that we don't understand. People right now, and that has been a thing sort of happening for the last 100 years. I mean, you remember the saying that all the inventions has been invented. And we even though most people laugh at that today, there is still a feeling of that. We know everything. We've reached the zenith of our civilization. We've reached, this is the best. We're peaking. If there's anything that I would like to, or we would like to tell the little person, is to have a higher acceptance towards the things that you do not know. The only thing that we can agree upon at the end of the day, if you're not talking to someone who's fucking mentally disturbed, is that we don't know. We can believe and we can want to believe that this is going to happen or this is not going to happen. When you die, this is going to happen, or this is going to happen, or that is going to happen. We have no idea. There's no one that can answer that question, especially not a bunch of Romans in 325. The studio experience was, that depends. I mean, we had a production period that was over the course of 5 months straight. And the first 3 months was pre-production, where we worked basically 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, in a studio, kind of a smaller setting, working with the material. Most of it was written, most of it was bulk written, came into the studio, put on a table, lifting up the parts that we wanted to work with for this album. The theme was there already, we knew what not to bring in, but still, you know, you take one song, you sort of discuss where it's going, you record it once, either it fits, or you have to re-record it and you change and you cut, and you know, it's a very, very long, lengthy process. So 3 months of pre-production might sound like a like a stretch, but we were really working every day, very hard, investing days onto every song. And the idea was for when the real recording in the real big studio, when that was supposed to start, there was our intention was that there was going to be very little creative work at that point, which I think for the most part we sort of succeeded with, because when you are actually recording in a big real studio, it's very ineffective to start rewriting stuff. It's kind of like, start writing a script for a movie on the set. That's not very good. You want to focus on getting the really good takes and getting all the light done, And it's the same thing when you're recording. When you're in a big studio, you want to get the sound right. You want to do a really good take. You want to have a guitar player who's willing to sit there for 6 hours and play it over and over and over and over and over and over again. So, well, the main producer, the sort of assigned producer was a guy called whose name is Claes Åhlund. He's a Swedish producer, and he's professionally more known as more of a songwriter producer. This sort of producer that sort of sits, writes a song, produces it, and then this really famous singer comes in and sings it, and then it's their song. Whilst obviously we are a band, and he wanted for once to do a more of a normal production job when he works with a band rather than just one artist. So that was interesting. I definitely think that we got a lot of ideas and a lot of new angles that we wouldn't have had we worked with a more established rock producer. It's a guy from Poland called Zbigniew Bilak. He did the artwork for the last album too, and usually we spend almost 6 months talking and sketching and back and forth, the good old in and out. So he's been very into the process sort of for almost a year. I remember we started with the front cover when we played in Poland. We played in Warsaw last summer in July somewhere. And that's when we sort of sketched up the first one. This is going to be the front cover. And when you do that, you're going to see a skull when you do that. And then it just, continuous contact. Talk about, now we have a song called this. Please make a picture that sort of has this happening here and that being a symbol for that and that and that and that. And after a while, he just like this? Oh, fantastic. It looks fucking great. You're the master. We've done many tours in America in the past, and I wouldn't say that this is extra special from that point of view. It's extra special because we like touring in America. We have a lot of American fans, and that's the country where we've toured the most. So we are looking forward to go back and present this kick-ass show that we think that we have. But obviously, in the sense of us working towards becoming a bigger and better band, obviously the risks are that there will be people taking offense from what we do, which is on one hand very good, obviously, because we believe that anybody that takes offense to what we do is wrong, basically. But at the end of the day, we are an entertainment entity. That's what we do. We entertain people. We are not politicians. We are not. We are a band. We're a theatrical group combined that has a social comment, but it's still, at the end of the day, we're there to entertain people. We're not there to proclaim war. So that depends, completely on what the reaction is, or in what form that sort of negative criticism would come. People raising their hands and say that that's absolutely horrible. I could not care less. I would think it's way more negative if a kid is being refused by his parents or her parents to go to a show because they think that we are doing something dangerous. That provokes me, because in essence what we're saying is deeply humanistic, and we want people to have fun. We want there to be a joyous moment. And how could that be dangerous? That is negative, I think. I'm afraid of that. That is negative. But because that is obviously something that is that's sprung out of ignorance. I think that is a very bad development as a reaction to what we are doing. If people are taking offense from just being sort of bad circuiting or a big draft between their ears.